In Demo 8, we're just going to do some miscellaneous things that we've already done in 6 and 7, but going to put it in a different context here. Hopefully that'll help with some of your understanding of the areas that you might have had some difficulties with. So let's just do some things that we've done in the past. For example, doing the center merging and increase and change the font size. Apple Casual, a little larger. Again, we have to heighten that particular row, and we'll put it in the middle. That looks pretty good. Leave that there. One of the things I'm going to do here with B3 is I'm going to text wrap, since this goes beyond the cell width. I'm going to text wrap that. We can text wrap, or we can shrink the text to fit. Now if we shrink the text to fit, it's going to be very, very tiny. So we're going to do a text wrap, which once again I have to increase the size of that row to see it, and we're going to put it in the middle, and I got to increase it a lot here to make it visible. Can also increase the columns. We're used to doing that, and I think that was the problem. There was some space after passengers, so now it's nice and clean. I'm going to take these column titles and right align them. Excellent. Then we're going to create a series using my pull handle all the way down. Notice it's going to stay at 1990 all the way down, but my option box is going to allow me to fill based on series. And so it goes from 1990 to 2003. That's significant. Now you notice down here in row 18 we got some problems. We got a couple of numbers here that aren't following what we would expect them to do, to be right aligned. The numbers, well, this one appears to be centered, see that right up there, and this one doesn't appear to be anything. Doesn't have a left, right, or centered. One of the ways to find out what might be wrong is to select the two cells, go up here to the number pull down. Now, even though it says number, we want to do that again. We're going to hit number again. And the fact that this one in B18 changed to 2 decimal places makes that indeed a number. So let's change that to comma, put the comma in there, take out a couple decimal places. And because it's centered, that's one of the problems, we need to right align it. Now this one over here is now right aligned, but remember it didn't give us 2 decimal places. Something's wrong with it. So let's go up here into the formula bar and see if we can figure out what's wrong. It just so happens there's a space in front of the number. Whenever you put a space in front of a number, it makes the cell believe the number is a text, not a number. So all I have to do is delete that space, hit the enter key, and now it will act like a number, whatever I want to do to it, as a number. Another way to put numbers in as text is to use an apostrophe first. There are times when you would want to do that, when you would want to put in numbers and have the spreadsheet think that they were text. You would do that when, for example, you wanted the column titles to be years, for example, 2001, 2002, up to 2011, and it contained numbers below, and so when you did the summing or the average or whatever, it wouldn't include that 2000 number. as part of the averaging. Let's do a total of the two numbers. The total is going to, remember, always starts out with an equal sign. It's just, in this case, we don't need to use the sum. We just have two numbers that we're working with. So we're going to use the relative cell reference, just using the numbers without any absolute cell reference. So we hit the enter key and we get our railroad tracks, which means column's not wide enough. So remember the three ways I can change the column. I can go up to Format and change the column width. I can use my cursor between the columns and do it myself, or I can double click to make it fit that particular situation. So we'll leave it at double click. Now, when I copy this down, B5, C5 is going to change to B5, B6, C6, 7, 8, and all the way down through 18, giving the sums of the numbers to the left of this column. Now this percentage change is looking at what percentage change happened from the first half of the year to the second half of the year. So percentage change is the present amount, which would be the second half of the year, minus the previous amount, which would be the first half of the year, divided by the previous amount. I want that minus to happen before the division, and remember division has priority over subtraction, so I have to use parentheses to make sure the subtraction is done first. So I'm going to go equal parentheses. Second half of the year, our present value, July through December, minus first half of the year, January through June, end parentheses. Do that subtraction first, then divide the previous amount, January through June. Now remember, this is calculating percentage change, like a percentage increase. This is not calculating the amount plus a percent of the amount, like we did in the previous ones. So there's our percentage change. We're going to, again, slide on down and copy that formula all the way down. Now that since it's already selected, let's get rid of some of these decimals. Let's just apply percent and add a decimal. Change the width, and we now have a row of percentage changes from the first half of the year to the second half of the year. I'm going to do two things now that we're going to add to this spreadsheet. One thing is we're going to add some graphics. We're going to insert a picture. So let's insert a clip art. Down here under clip art, let's go to the clip art gallery. And we're going to type in airplane. Let's see if there's an airplane around, since this is about Portland Airport. And there isn't. Let's go online then. You will now launch your browser. Is that okay? Yes. Now we're into Microsoft Office's Image Finder. Airplane. Here are all sorts of airplanes we can grab and use in our spreadsheet. Kind of like this one right here. So let's download it. And it's a PNG file. Look at that. Isn't that fancy? So it's in my download right now. So I am going to, since it is being previewed, I can copy it. So now I close down all of these. Close down that browser. Close down the clip art gallery. I'm back into Excel finally. And I can paste what I just copied. And there is the picture. I'm going to shrink it a little bit. Notice that it has no effect on the numbers whatsoever. The words, the numbers, no effect. It's not like Word, where we had to play with the graphics to get it to work right. So there's a pretty good looking picture to go with our spreadsheet. Now, one of the last things I want to show you in this particular demo is the ability to do a show formulas. And the show formulas allows us to see all the formulas that were used in this spreadsheet. It'll spread everything out and show us the formulas. To get the show formula, there's two ways of doing it. Under Excel, Preferences, you'll find Authoring, Views, and what we want is Show Formulas right here under Windows Formulas. Okay, so that was Excel menu, Preferences. Under the Authoring, you pick Views and then make sure this box, Show Formulas, is checked. Hit the OK and notice what happened. Everything spread out, and the two columns that have formulas show us those formulas. Notice our numbers lose their commas, so the formatting kind of goes away on our numbers. The quick way to do this is to use your Control key with the accent mark. And the accent mark, not the apostrophe, the accent mark is up by the number 1. It's just to the left of the number 1 on your keyboard, right above the tab. So if you click on that, that's kind of toggles it on, toggles it off. So that's the quick way of doing the show formulas. And that'll end this demo.